Hey guys, my name is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a winter book recommendations video. And I know you might be thinking, Gabby, it's mid-January, like winter is halfway over, and you might be right, but I have read so many different great winter themed books, especially in this last month and a half or so. So I want to come at you today with some books that I think would be perfect to read during this winter season that we're currently in right now. And some of these books, I just think that they're perfect for reading during winter, either because they take place around Christmas time or in December, New Year's time maybe, or just because of the setting of the book, either because it's a very snowy atmosphere or very dark, rainy, moody vibes, you know what I'm saying? But before we do jump into the book recommendations, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to a new sponsor on this channel that I'm very excited about, and that is Bright Cellars. And I'm very excited about this sponsorship because Bright Cellars is a wine company. Bright Cellars matches you to wines from all over the world curated to your palate. You take their quick 7-question non-wine snobby quiz so they can gather your taste preferences and deliver you wines that you're guaranteed to like. They send the wine directly to you, so there's no need to venture out to the liquor store or grocery store to grab a bottle or waste money trying to find new bottles that might not even match your taste. Each box comes with wine education cards for each bottle that outlines the tasting notes, suggested pairings, best serving temperature, and origin. I think it's very exciting to get wine that is specifically catered to your taste, because wine is just something I've recently started getting into in the last 2 years or so, and I'm definitely a white wine girl, but when I took the quiz, they have an option for you that says give me at least maybe one red wine that you would think I would like. So I did end up getting one red wine, and I've got to say, it's pretty tasty. I think my favorite so far that I've tried out of the 6 bottles is this Gladiolus. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this one is so good. As you can see, I've already drank more than half the bottle. Oops. And I have yet to open 3 of the bottles, but of these 3 that I have not tried yet, I am very excited to try this Sprig and Rosé because it just looks like it's gonna be so freaking good. So the good news is that Bright Cellars is giving my subscribers 50% off their first 6-bottle box. So all you have to do is follow that link in my description and go and take the quiz and get started. Nothing pairs better with books than wine, am I right? Thank you so much to Bright Cellars for sponsoring today's video. And now let's get on to the winter book recommendations. So the very first book recommendation I have on this list is one of my most recent reads out of all of these books, but it's kind of what inspired the idea for this video, because it is The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. And I know you're probably thinking, wait a second, you're telling me that this book takes place in the winter time? And yeah, I mean, it has winter in the title. It's the perfect winter book recommendation. Not only does it take place in winter times though, but it has the most snowy woods atmosphere setting that you can even imagine and want in a book. And if you had no idea what this book is or what it's even about, it's basically this horror kind of thriller, creepy novel that's kind of Major Pet Cemetery by Stephen King vibes. It has a very similar plot happening in this book, but we also get multiple timelines in this book because we get a historical fiction point of view happening in 1908, and then in alternate chapters we get the present day, and these people in this small town are going missing, and it's all very snowy and atmospheric. Spooky woods vibes, it's snowing, it's a fun time. Another book that I think is one of the best winter book recommendations is One Day in December by Josie Silver, and this is mainly because this book does take place in December for the most part, but it also is a novel that spans 10 years of time. This novel spans a decade or 2. But for the most part, our story that we're following is taking place in the winter time. It's December, it's Christmas time. And this story totally reminds me a lot of the movie Something Borrowed. It kind of has that similar thing where our main character is in love with this guy that her best friend low-key starts dating without the knowledge that she is into him. And then it's kind of we follow their situation and their little group of friends for 10+ years. And I don't know, when I read this book, I read it personally in the month of December, and I just thought it was the most amazing December vibes book. So I had a lot of fun with this, and this isn't anything revolutionary or crazy. It was your average cute 3-star, romance, but I still had a really great time while I was reading this book, and I would still totally recommend it. One thriller book that I think is absolutely perfect to read in the winter is No Exit by Taylor Adams. Absolutely thrilling. This is non-stop thrills, page turner, craziness. And this one takes place in Colorado during a snowstorm. It's like a blizzard, crazy time. Our main character gets stuck at this rest stop because she's getting snowed in. She can't even drive any further. And then she realizes that while she's at this rest stop, there's this child in a crate in the back of a van, and she doesn't know who else at this rest stop kidnapped this little girl. And there's only a few people there, so she knows it's got to be one of these people there. And the whole book, you're trying to figure out with her which one of these people in there is a child abductor. And it's very intense, and like the snowy atmosphere in this book is just so great. It's such a vibe, and it's such a perfect winter book recommendation. Like, I think this would be so fun to read while it's actually snowing outside. I feel like it would make me even more scared, you know? Another thriller book that I say thriller because I don't personally really consider this one to be much of a thriller is Long Bright River by Liz Moore. This one is more of a, like, it feels almost like literary fiction and like slow burning mystery, but I just feel like this book would be perfect to read at this like wintry time of year. I personally read this one for the first time last January when it published, and it's just the most perfect winter read. Basically, in this book, we're following this female cop who is working in Philadelphia, and the opioids crisis is out of control, and her sister is a drug addict who has recently gone missing. And so we're kind of following her as she's trying to figure out what happened to her sister. Yeah, I don't know what it is about this book. Like, I do think this book is great to read at any time of the year, to be honest, but specifically during the winter, it's just, this book is such a vibe. It's so moody and dark. It kind of reminds me of the movie Prisoners in that same way, where like all winter long I just want to watch the movie Prisoners like every day. That's kind of how I feel about this. Like, just talking about this book, it makes me want to reread it, honestly. I don't know what it is, I'm obsessed with it. I love it. Obama also loves this book, if that encourages you to want to pick it up even more. If you're looking for some Stephen King picks that would be even better to read during the winter time, then I would definitely recommend Misery or The Shining. I feel like these two books in particular are more suited to like a perfect winter read as opposed to like the perfect fall read or like any other time of year, because both of these books have very snowy atmospheres and like just like cold, cloudy, dark atmospheres. And in The Shining, you know, we're following this family who's at this hotel. They're getting snowed in for 5 months. I'm sure you know the story by now, but this book would be perfect to read in the winter. Unlike me, I read it in August when I lived in California and it was like the hottest month ever. And like, deep regrets, I probably would have enjoyed this book a lot more had I read it during a snowy time. And then Misery by Stephen King, you know, this follows this author who gets abducted by his biggest fan. It all takes place in this like very snow-covered cabin. It's just very winter vibes. If you're looking for a romance that takes place in the winter time, then I would definitely recommend The Butterfly Project by Emma Scott. This one, I don't know if it all takes place in the winter, but I remember there were some very cute standout things that were happening around Christmas time in this book. And just the vibe of this book in general, I feel like this book would be best to read during the winter time, because again, this is one of those like cozy, cuddly romance books that you just want to like curl up on the couch with your bottle of wine, you know what I mean, and just like read this book and have a good cry. Yeah, this one takes place in New York City, which I absolutely love. It's very atmospheric of New York City. It's one of my favorite books that takes place in New York City. And we're following this girl Zelda, who is this graphic novel artist, and then she kind of gets involved with this guy Beckett, who is recently out of prison, and he and her become roommates by some circumstances that happen, and it's just one of my favorite romances of all time, and I think it's really great to read in the wintertime. Another romance book that I think is perfect to read during the wintertime is Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellafleur. This one is a female-female romance, and I think it's perfect for this time of year because in this book, they're gonna be fake dating, right? One of my favorite tropes. But they're gonna be fake dating just through like the holiday season. So I believe that their agreement begins before Thanksgiving, and then it's gonna be expiring on New Year's Eve. So it kind of all takes place in that time period before Thanksgiving and until New Year's Eve. It's so cute. It's one of my favorite female-female romances that I've ever read. I adore these two characters so hard, and the winter vibes are fantastic. Another thriller that I forgot to mention earlier that I think is a really great winter book is An Unwanted Guest by Sherry Lapina. It all takes place at this like snowy little inn. It's like a hotel, but it's like smaller than that. It's like an inn. These people all go there, and then somebody gets murdered, and then they're all trying to figure out who it was because it's like snowstorming outside. Nobody can leave this place, and they're all stranded there, and it becomes kind of like a game of Clue. Like all these people keep dying and disappearing and you're trying to figure out who it is. It's very, you know, Agatha Christie vibes, I guess, in that sense. And this one was just so much fun. It's definitely one of my favorite thrillers, especially by this author. I think it's my favorite from Sherry Lapina. I know this might seem kind of random, but I think Little Women would actually be a perfect winter book as well. But not only because it's so freaking thick and huge, and I feel like, I don't know why, around winter time is my favorite time to read books that are more lengthy. I don't know if that makes sense, but like I would much rather read a lengthy, cozy, you know, cute, like the March Sisters book in the winter time as opposed to like in the summer or something, you know? Because I just feel like, I don't know, I've tried to I tried to explain this in my like fall reading video, like what I mean, but I feel like the world starts to slow down in like the fall and the winter time, and you're just spending more time indoors, and it's more likely that you'll be curled up with like a blanket on the couch and the fireplace going, and you know what I mean? So like that just doesn't really happen in the summer, I feel like. So I feel like more times I would want to read these like long, classic, beautiful novels in like the winter, you know what I'm saying? I also think there's a couple scenes in this book with Christmas time, and it's just, this is the kind of book that'll make you, you know, appreciate life and your family and the world. And then the last two books that I have on this list, I kind of also feel like they belong on a winter recommendations video for the same reason as Little Women, because it's The Midnight Library by Matt Haig and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Because I do feel like both of these books as well are kind of books that make you appreciate life and kind of like think about your life. And it just kind of, both of these are kind of like slower, like they're like slow burn beautiful books, and they take some time to get through, especially Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Like this is definitely a slow burn, and The Midnight Library is just so thought-provoking because it just makes you think about your life and your regrets and your death. And I don't know, I just find both of these books to be really, really beautiful, and I think that they're just perfect to read at this time of year. I can't explain why, they just are. So those are all of the winter book recommendations that I have for you today. So if you've read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts on them, and let me know if you have any other books that you think would be perfect winter book recommendations. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye. Because it is The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. Oh my god. And I know you're probably thinking,
what am I reading?
oh my god.
I better read a fucking blueberry.
And I know you're probably like, wait, what? This video? Ugh.